This first stop has a massive line. This may be the most popular spot in the market, and you'll see it as soon as you enter Sillin Night Market. They're serving fried chicken, but it's not any ordinary fried chicken. So they are making the fried chicken typical style G-pie, the big chicken steaks. But what they do differently at this place to elevate it is they actually grill it after it's been deep fried. So they've got a grill, they're flipping the fried chicken. I've never tried this before. This is the result, and I thought it was gonna be really crispy feeling in my hands, but actually you can see it's actually not as crispy as I thought. Almost feels soggy in my hands, but you can see little kind of burnt crispy bits on there. Let me give this a try and see what all the hype's about. Oh yeah, yum.
有，买那个自拍棒就好了。不行啊，不一样。这我没了。还没快啊！还要吗？没有，我记一下时间。然后你看我们再放半个小时就会滚点了，差不多。好重的味道。
一个热的哦，150。我这1杯而已。来看哦，后面要几碗呢？像100。
So we have our first snack today in Jiufan, and we got something that is extremely popular here, and this is a taro and sweet potato kind of chewy soup. So if you see here, we've got all kinds of different things going on. The famous one that this shop is famous for is their taro balls, which are the chewy taro purple here, and then also they've got sesame kind, there's some red beans, some green beans, some sweet potato balls, all kinds of different delicious things, and it's a hot soup in sort of a sugar broth. So let's take a big bite. I'm gonna go in for one of the sweet potato, one of the taro, and then some beans. Let's try that. That's very sweet, extremely sweet. I actually find it's pretty hard to taste the sweet potato or the taro in the chewies, but it's mostly just the sugar water flavor, very, very sweet. We're at our next street food here, and this is a baozi shop, and we're gonna order up a ro bao, which is just meat bun, steamed buns, and this is the boss, Lao Ban, and he is super friendly. They let us come back here and film them making all the different baozi, and yeah, it looks delicious. Okay, we've got our ro bao here, and they kind of hooked us up because they're super friendly here, so this is free. And yeah, I'm gonna break into this here. This feels nice and plump and juicy. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, look at all the juice in there. Oh, look at that. Look at the juice there. That is so juicy. Okay, let's try this out here. Ro bao. Oh yeah, that's like a little bit salty and really juicy, like really juicy. There's a few green onions in there, maybe some bamboo shoots as well, and the meat, there's quite a bit of meat in there, and it's nice and tender, juicy minced pork. Yeah, this is a really good ro bao. Oh yeah. So the claim to fame for this place is that they use brown sugar mixed with their boba. So he poured a ton of brown sugar into the cauldron, mixes in all of the fresh boba, the tapioca pearls, and then kind of cooks them away slowly. And this place is cool because you can see him doing it right behind me here. And they've got a couple different things, but one thing that they have is the Dalgona bubble milk tea. So this new thing that's trending on Instagram especially, I've seen it a lot, this Dalgona. So I think we're gonna try that. They've had other ones before like Gold Leaf, but unfortunately they don't have it today. and there is a massive line, so we're gonna jump in line. But we've got our boba milk tea. This is Xing Fu Tong's brown sugar boba milk tea with dalgona. So I guess dalgona is like a instant coffee whipped with some cream. Pull my straw out here. And I think I gotta give this a mix because all of that brown sugar boba needs to get mixed up. So it's hot on the bottom where they were cooking those bobas, but then it's really icy cold on the top. And I don't know what to do about this dalgona, but I'm gonna push my straw down so I get a little bit of it. Oh yeah. It reminds me of an iced mocha. It's got that strong coffee flavor, but very sweet from the brown sugar. Really QQ, bouncy boba tapioca pearls. Honestly, it's not the best bubble milk tea. And Taiwanese people are very proud of their favorite bubble milk tea. I'm a Usulan 50 bubble milk tea lover, but this one's pretty good. How do you think?
Bit of chili on there. Oh yeah, this is gonna be a good one.
I don't think I should one bite this because I'm scared I'm gonna burn myself.
Oh yeah, so juicy. There's like a soup inside. You can see it has a really nice green onion taste, and that pork is really good. I think that maybe they cool the pork so that the fat sort of solidifies, and then when they steam it, it sort of just turns into a juice. Oh, it smells so good too.
Okay, we just finished watching her prepare honestly the most spectacular preparation of any dish that I've ever seen in my entire life. So this massive pot here will be feeding 100 people. So this is the soup that will be poured on top of the deep fried fish head, and she's going to be making a lot more than just one of these tonight. And there is a ton of ingredients in there, but I'll try to remember all of them so I can walk you through this spectacular looking fish head soup. So the first thing she started with was that same pork bones broth that we saw out back, so it had a really milky consistency to it. Then she put a mixture of all kinds of different ingredients in. It was some garlic, some mini shrimp, some chili, and a lot of green onion. And then after that, she put some very thinly sliced pork belly you can see in there, and then she put a ton of tofu. And then after that, she topped it with a ton of this tofu skin, deep fried tofu skin, and there's also some wood ear mushrooms in here, and then also the most cabbage I have ever seen in one place at one time. It must have been so many pounds of cabbage going in on top of this. And then one very interesting ingredient, as you can see here, a lot of these little orange kind of speckles. Those are tiger lilies, so actually a flower. And I'm sure I'm forgetting some ingredients, but let me tell you, this just smells absolutely incredible, and we're totally ready to go inside and try it out now.
Oh, all of those ingredients soak the flavor of that broth up really well. The tofu skin, they're just completely saturated with the flavor of that broth.
So we have been served our bowl of noodles and soup. They told me it's called lo mian, and you can see right here it's just absolutely packed with all kinds of different ingredients. They actually told me originally that they were sold out, but I guess they were able to serve us one bowl, which I'm really thankful for because this looks incredible. So there's tons of different ingredients in here. There's some pork balls, some potatoes, carrots, cilantro, some seaweed, all kinds of different things. So let's actually get a piece of pork here, the potato, and try the broth. And you can see that broth is really thick, so there must be some sort of starch in there. Let's try that. Oh man. Oh, that's fantastic. It's almost got a little bit of a acidity, like almost like a sourness to it. And the broth is really thick. They must have used some starch to thicken it up. Let's try these noodles. Oh man, that is delicious. And this is such a beautiful bowl of hearty noodles. Check that out. You can see all that thick broth just sticking to those noodles. Let's try these. Oh man, the broth sticks to those noodles so well, and those noodles are cooked perfectly. Oh man, this is super hearty, but really, really flavorful. We've come to one of the most famous places in Ximending. It's called Ah Chang, and they've been around since 1975, so 45 years old, famous with both the locals and the tourists for their rice noodles. So they start by putting a little bit of garlic and black vinegar in the bottom of the bowl, fill it up with their famous rice noodles, and then they'll top it with some cilantro if you want it. We've got our bowl here. We ordered up a large. There's not much to it. You can see all those beautiful noodles, and then the only other real ingredient is a little bit of intestines. So you just gotta go in when it's hot. This is like the perfect little street side snack. The noodles have such a nice texture. They're super slippery, but honestly, the flavor isn't that strong yet. So you gotta head over to the sauce station and you can add some extra, which we'll do right now. I'm honestly gonna go for the full trifecta here of the chili, and you can be quite generous with this. I'll go for 2 scoops of each chili, and then we got garlic water in the middle. Oh, this is a big scoop, so I'll just go 1 scoop there. And then black vinegar, my favorite. Definitely gotta add some of that. Probably go for 1.5 or 2. So I've got 2 pieces of the intestine here. We've added all those extra condiments. Oh yeah, it needs that vinegar and that chili. Just gives it that depth that it's missing. And actually, that stock is almost like a dashi. You could taste a little bit of bonito in there. That intestine is a little bit chewy. We have our first breakfast snack. This is the youtiao xiaobing. So inside we have the youtiao, which are these Taiwanese fried crullers. So this dough that's been stretched out to kind of look like a churro and then deep fried. And then it's inside of the xiaobing, which is the baked bread with a little bit of sesame seeds on top. So it's basically just a carb hamburger. There's really not much to it. Just deep fried bread inside of baked bread, but let's give it a try. The xiaobing baked bread on the outside is very flaky and a very slight flavor of sesame. And then the youtiao on the inside is kind of soft and pillowy, almost chewy. But what you really gotta do with this, or what I like to do at least, is take some sweet soy milk. So this is hot soy milk. This place is famous for their soy milk. And when you make a soy milk in small batches like this, it can be really high quality, really tasty stuff. So I like to actually just dip the whole thing, and look at, there's like a film on top of that. Awesome. And there's quite a lot of sugar in this. So let's try this. That soy milk just brings the whole thing together, adds a little bit of sweetness, and just rounds it off with a nice soy flavor and turns this really plain carb overload into something really delicious. So there is one little stall in this market that's really popular, and they're selling fish cakes. And the fish cakes are stuffed with a boiled egg, and they're making them by hand. So they've got the fish cake paste, and then they just take the half or like a quarter of a boiled egg and then put it inside the fish paste directly. And then they're just dropping that little almost like sausage oblong shaped fish cake into the oil, frying it up. And then you can just order them one or as many as you want. I think we're just gonna get one to try. So we've got our fish cakes here, and they are actually double fried. I think in either 2 different types of oil or 2 different temperatures. And the second frying is for that exterior, that golden crispy exterior. And there should be a piece of boiled egg on the inside. I think this is gonna be really hot, but let me try to take a big bite. Oh yeah. It's very simple. So it is seasoned with a little bit of salt and pepper, and then she's just skewered them up for us. It's perfect little snack. Not much to it. It doesn't have a very fishy flavor, and I haven't gotten that egg yet. You can see I gotta get one more bite to get to the egg. Oh yeah. We're here for our first street food today, and this is the danbing, and it looks really good. So she fried up the batter and tons of green onions, like packed full of green onions, and it smells awesome. Once she was finished frying up the batter, she sort of cracked an egg and put that underneath all the batter. Yeah, this looks awesome. First I'm just gonna try it without the sauce. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, really strong green onion flavor. Super hot and fresh. I think she put quite a bit of pepper, maybe some 5 spice. It's got a little bit of like a kick of pepper, and yeah, it's all about this green onions though. Crispy golden on the outside and super juicy on the inside. I'm gonna put some sauce on it this time. I think this is a sweet chili sauce. Put some on this piece here. Oh yeah. Gonna kick it up a notch. That is so juicy. I think there's little bits of pork inside. Okay, let's try this out. Oh yeah, that is scalding hot, but really good. Those green onions are so good, and I think there's little bits of pork in there. Just look at the amount of green onions in there, and there is little bits of pork as well. This is so good and so juicy. Okay, we just waited in an extremely long line for the very popular mini sausage stall, I guess. So we ordered up, you can buy them individually. So we ordered up 5 mini sausages served with whole pieces of garlic. And I also asked for chili sauce. I think it's chili oil. So I'm gonna grab one of these here and try it out. And I can feel in my hand that they are just steaming hot. Try to get a piece of garlic. Oh yeah, check that out. That's such a kind of like cute little sausage, but I'm gonna eat it anyway. Oh wow. Really strong, like burnt flavor. The whole garlic piece kind of gives it like a spicy garlic flavor. I can't really taste the chilies. Maybe there wasn't any on that piece, but those are blistering hot. Super juicy on the inside, and like I said, they've got a nice like burnt smoky flavor. Let's try one more of these. I'm loving this actually. These are awesome. I can see why the line was so long. This one's got some chili peppers on it. Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's just like burnt almost on the outside, and they are grilling up maybe thousands of these on the grill at once. Super hot, super juicy, and nice and spicy from those chili peppers. Our final snack for the day is another very popular dish here at the Ningxia night market. This is mochi or mochi, and this just looks amazing. Check this out. These are huge balls of pounded rice cake mochi, and then they've been covered, this one in peanut powder and then this one in sesame, ground sesame with sugar. So these were being boiled kind of in like a massive cauldron, and then they're served up and then chopped with a ton of this peanut and sesame, and these look awesome. Just check out the consistency there. They're extremely kind of goopy, and they're just kind of falling out of my chopsticks. Oh, that looks awesome. So I'm just gonna go in for a bite right now. Oh yeah. Oh man, that mochi is a perfect little dessert, not too sweet, but it's still warm from being boiled. And since it's been heated up, it's kind of extra chewy, kind of extra gooey, and with the peanuts, that's really nice. So we have our breakfast here. The first one is the congee, the rice porridge. You can see all of those little pieces of rice in there, and there's also some meat inside, and it looks like some onions, some maybe fried shallots, and there should be some celery in there as well. And then this is a really interesting dish. This is the red yeast deep fried pork. You can see the layer of fat and meat there, and then the crunchy exterior, a little bit of daikon radish, and then it's served with a red sauce. I'm just gonna start with some of this congee. This is such a perfect little breakfast item. Very simple. And there's really not much to it. That rice is so soft it completely falls apart in your mouth. You definitely need to add some of the white pepper. Add some of this white pepper and give it a little mix. And let me try one of these pieces of meat. Just look at the amount of meat on the side of this thing. Oh, it fell right off the bone. I'm just gonna dip it into the soup a little bit and try that. Wow, that is tender. Wow, that is just melt in your mouth, fall apart, and really natural tasting. And then it's kind of infused with that daikon broth. That is so good, and so much meat. Wow. Next up, let's try the daikon. Wow. So juicy. Really fresh vegetable flavor, full of all that liquid soup. And then it's got still a bit of a crisp texture to it. It's not too soft. So So our first snack of the day today is a very, very famous stall here in Yongkang Street, and they are serving something called Kongyou Bing. The lineup is just ridiculous. There is gotta be 50 people in line. It took us about 20 minutes. Finally, they served us up our Kongyou Bing, which is just a scallion pancake in English. And you can order, I think there's 8 different things. We pick the basil with egg. And the key to making the perfect scallion pancake is the fluffing of the pancake, where she kind of beats it until it fluffs up. So then she topped it with some, I think is a sweet sauce. And yeah, it smells amazing. So let's try it out. Okay, gonna try it out here, and this basil, I can already smell it. And I've actually had this before. This is pretty popular in Taiwan, but this was actually the very first thing Sabrina and I ate when we were moving to Taiwan. This is the very first thing we ate in Taiwan. So let's try this out. Oh yeah. The sauce is like really, really sweet. Kind of a little tangy. The basil is nice and fresh. Like basil makes everything better. And the egg is kind of meaty in there. But really, it's all about this super, super fluffy pancake exterior. It's like airy and kind of a little buttery. Definitely a little oily, but crispy golden on the outside. Perfect start to the day. If you want to check this place out, like I said, it's on Yongkang Street, and there is all kinds of different things. You can get cheese, corn, ham, but So we waited about 10 minutes for a very popular snack, as I mentioned, from this very popular shop called Heji, and this is the su bing. So this is one of 2 dishes that they cook here that are very popular. The other we are waiting for right now, and that is the xiao bing. So this is the tian su bing, or sweet su bing, and that is filled with a mixture of dough and sugar. And as you can see, it has been topped with a ton of sesame seeds. So they're kind of toasted from the massive drum that he is cooking these in, and the man cooking these is extremely friendly, and he is just a master, very attentive watching these cook to make sure they are perfect, and I'm ready to dig into this. All right, let's take a big bite out of this sweet su bing, and this smells amazing. It has such a smoky aroma. Let's try it out. Mmm. Okay, sitting down for our next dish. This is niuro tang, which is Tainan famous, and it is basically just raw beef, and it isn't even cooked, but it's just put into the hot soup, and the soup cooks it. So you need to eat very quickly, so I'm gonna have a bite now. I'm gonna try the broth out first so I can eat this really quickly. Oh yeah. Super, super beefy, meaty. Nice like ginger flavor, like spicy ginger. And it's not too salty, it's pretty plain. I'm guessing you need to eat quickly so it stays very tender. And oh yeah, there is tons of beef in there. Oh yeah, that's really good. The broth is like really, really beefy and super tender. And it's also served with a sauce here, so I'm gonna try that out this time. Grab a piece. Put in the sauce and grab some ginger. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh man, so much ginger in that sauce. There is a ton of ginger in there. It is like a really spicy kind of ginger flavor, and then a really sweet sauce. This is good. Okay, like I said, this is super famous here in Tainan. Lots of people actually like to eat this for breakfast. And the beef is so fresh tasting. It's butchered this morning and kept at the consistent temperature, never frozen or refrigerated. And he's cutting it up fresh right in there. And yeah, this is awesome. I'm gonna try one more piece. Oh yeah. Yeah, let's try that out.
Our soup has arrived, and it smells so fragrant. It's got this golden color to it, and there are some jujubes floating around in there, some goji berries, and then that ginseng, which is really where all that flavor is gonna come from. Popular in Korean cooking, maybe not so common in Taiwan, but I love it. And I'm just gonna take some of the broth and put it into my bowl here and try it like that first. That's amazing. I love it. It's not salty. It's not too salty at all. And it's got a little bit of a sweetness, sort of a ginger flavor. And then that ginseng tastes earthy and just healthy, rich. It's got a really deep flavor to it. Wow, there's a lot going on in there. I wasn't sure if this place was gonna be good or not, but the soup is really good. I gotta try some of the chicken. So let me fish out some of the chicken, and look at that. It looks so tender. Yeah, that's just completely fall off the bone. Let's try that. Oh man, wow. You can taste natural chicken flavor. It is completely infused though at the same time with all of that ginseng broth.
Sitting down for a very popular dish. This is stall number 5, and they're serving a thick crab soup. So let's check this out here. There is like big chunks of crab in there, and then some mushrooms, and maybe some needle mushrooms as well. So let's get a chunk of crab and mushroom for this first bite. Oh man. It has like a really peppery flavor. And the broth is like thick, kind of like gooey. And then the mushroom is kind of crisp and crunchy. But really that crab meat is just like naturally sweet and delicious. So on the table there's some, I think it's 5 spice. So I'm gonna put this on. I saw some people doing that. Put a little bit of that. This is ridiculously hectic in here, so we're trying to eat fast, but let's try this out again. Oh man. The crab just falls apart in your mouth. Oh, 谢谢啊. And she just gave me a big piece of crab, an extra chunk. Let's try that out by itself. Oh my god. Just completely falls apart. It's like a little stringy, kind of. And then those mushrooms give it like a nice crunch, fresh flavor. And it has such a peppery, really strong, almost like spicy peppery flavor. So we found the little restaurant. This place is called Annan, and this is actually, you wouldn't guess it, but this is a Michelin recommended Bib Gourmand restaurant, and they serve pretty much only one thing, and that is the mayoji, which is the sesame oil chicken or sesame chicken. I've actually never had this dish before. You can see a little bit of that sesame oil, almost orange in color, floating on the top. We got the ji tui, which is the lag of the chicken, and lots of meat in here. Huge chunks of chicken meat in there. Just check that out. So I just gotta try this broth by itself before anything. Wow. Wow. It was very, very subtle. Almost a little bit peanutty and not salty whatsoever. I don't think there's any salt in there really. It's a little bit sweet. That is really, really good. I kind of like the sort of peanut buttery nuttiness to it. So find a nice piece of chicken for my first bite. Oh man, look at that. Wow, they're really generous with their chicken serving here. Okay, this is something I can never resist, and that is coconut water. Such a refreshing drink, so we're gonna order one up. So like I said, I can never resist a nice coconut water, so refreshing, and very friendly uncle here selling it. Oh yeah, so just like naturally sweet, a little bit warm, but right out of the coconut, it doesn't get fresher than that. Street side coconut water. It doesn't really get much better than that. And this is packed with so much water, I'm surprised. And it's like a little bit of pulp as well. It's nice.
那不然你说4点半，然后我就说不行，我还要洗澡，我还要走路。
Okay, a lot of snacking going on today in Jiufan, and we've got another very popular dish here in Taiwan, and this is the classic stinky tofu. So it is a fermented tofu that's fermented in all kinds of interesting ingredients. If you haven't seen it already, I made a full video just with stinky tofu, but this one seemed very interesting. I've never seen anything like it. So as you can see, she's got it braising in a ton of sauce. So it's a brown colored sauce, a little bit oily looking, and then normally stinky tofu will be topped with some of this pickled cabbage, and it looks like carrots here too, but this is just such a juicy looking stinky tofu, and honestly I love stinky tofu. So I'm just gonna go in for a big bite of this here. Okay, oh man, that's a good tofu. It's really kind of crumbly tofu on the inside, firm though, but extremely juicy from that sauce she's braising it in. So I think it's kind of a mixture of some vinegar and soy. It's a little bit sour, that sauce, but really it's all about that tofu and how well it just absorbs the flavor of that sauce. today we are having a Taiwanese spring roll, chungjuan, and this is a really interesting looking one. There had to be at least 10 or more ingredients in there. So I saw all kinds of different things. Some shredded egg, tofu, pork, small pieces of shrimp. I think I saw her put a little bit of shrimp paste in there, a couple different sauces, and then tops it all with some ground peanuts and sugar. So this just looks incredible, and what makes this place really kind of unique is you can see right here, they actually very lightly fry it after they're finished stuffing it with all those beautiful ingredients, and there's 2 different wrappers. So let's give this one a try. I love Taiwanese spring rolls, they're just so fresh. Oh, I love the texture of that spring roll. There's so many crunchy, fresh ingredients in there. That lettuce is really nice and crunchy and crisp, but also the outside, that wrapper, has a nice kind of crunchiness to it. So you can actually see the little granules of sugar in there, some pieces of tofu, but man, there's just so many fresh ingredients in here and a little bit of a cilantro kick to it as well. This is like the perfect breakfast. A little bit messy to eat, but delicious. Wow, I am so excited to be back here. This place I filmed about 5 years ago. It's just a little stall. It's not even really a stall. He's just set up on the pavement here, right on the road. Just a couple little chairs, and he's selling almond tea. But he does it with a unique ingredient. He uses the egg yolk, so a raw egg yolk. You can see it's completely changed the color of this almond tea to a bright yellow. There's a little couple pieces of egg yolk floating in there, and served in this metal cup here. Super hot. Let's try it out. And the smell is so fragrant. It's like fruity and nutty at the same time. It's such a complex flavor. Even though it's a simple drink, it's really hard to describe. You need to try this in Taiwan. It doesn't taste like almonds. If you just eat almonds, no, it's not the same taste. It's like a really strong fruity flavor, and this place is doing it in such a traditional way. Like I said, right on the road, right on the pavement. Super cool. Oh, it's so creamy and delicious. Yeah. So we're pretty thirsty after that slightly greasy fried chicken we had, and Taiwan is super popular for all of their varieties of drinks, and we just ordered up one of my favorites, and it is a mixture of a couple different things, one of which is the famous tapioca bubbles, or boba, and then another is a special type of jelly called ayu jelly, and then just some ice and black tea and some sugar. So let's give it a try. Oh yeah. So he's making up the oyster omelets behind me fresh. He uses the oysters first, frying them with a little bit of oil, and then he'll use a starchy water, probably potato starch, and then cracks an egg on top. He'll finish it with a little bit of lettuce, and then they'll put on this thick red sauce, which is really where all that flavor is coming from. And those oysters look nice and fresh. I'm excited to try this. They do have an extensive menu here, but their oyster omelet is quite famous. This is the end result here. You can see it's completely smothered in that
thick red sauce, almost like a ketchup. And we've got this crispy outer layer, but you'll see that it's not crispy the whole way through because of that starch. It gets really kind of goopy, really unique texture from that starch. And I gotta go in for one of those oysters for my first bite. Honestly, it's been a really long time since the last time I had an oyster omelet. They're really good. They're really just satisfying, hits the spot kind of food. You get that seafoodiness from the oyster, but it's not overpowering. The sauce is a little bit sweet, but again, not overpowering. It's all about the texture though. You get this weird kind of like snotty, goopy, gooey texture, but then it's got that crispy, crunchy outer layer. It's really unique. There's not a whole lot of foods like it. Yum. Those oysters are nice and fresh. We've come all the way to Taiwan just to try this very famous bowl of eel noodles, and I've been waiting a really long time to try this. So let's check out the bowl. We just ordered up our first of 2 dishes. So this is the more wet version of the noodles, and we have these nice looking egg noodles, and of course tons of these big chunks of the eel, and it looks and smells amazing already. So I'm gonna try out some of these egg noodles first. Oh, it's actually quite sweet. And he makes the soup, or the kind of broth, he uses a potato starch and he mixes it with water, and it makes it this really thick, kind of creamy consistency. And those noodles are nice and like firm egg noodles. Oh yeah. We are sitting down in the restaurant now. This place is called Jin Da Lu Rou Fan, and they pretty much only serve the Lu Rou Fan Taiwanese braised pork rice. This is just heavenly. Check this out. There is huge pieces of fatty pork belly on top. A lot of Taiwanese people actually prefer theirs to have more lean meat, but I really like the fatty kind. It just braises for so long that it melts in your mouth, and that just smells incredible. Over here we've got the tofu, just the braised tofu. Little piece of fat on top, I'll move that. But this is just regular tofu in that same braised sauce. So these things are just boiling away for hours. It smells so like anise and sort of a licoricey scent to it. I can't wait to dig into this. I'm gonna make sure I get a nice big serving for my first bite, and honestly it looks like mostly fat. I barely see any lean meat on there, and this is just pork belly. Oh, let's try that. Oh man, wow. That is the definition of melt in your mouth. Wow.
So for our dessert, we are having something that is actually Japanese in origin, but has been changed over the years to be very Taiwanese. So we get two kinds. In English, I think they call them wheel cakes. So inside this one, it is quite heavy. There is a ton of custard. So this one is custard, and then the other one that we have here is the hongdo, which is the red bean. So you can see a little bit of oh, I guess there's some toasted seeds on top, sesame seeds, and then you can see a little bit of the red bean kind of peeking through there. And this is Japanese of origin, but Taiwan has changed it to be much more filling than batter on the outside, whereas the Japanese version is a little bit more spongy. This one's a lot more crispy and filled with a lot of filling. So let's break into this red bean one. I hope I don't burn myself here. So that is absolutely stuffed full of this red bean paste. Some of the beans are actually still intact, but a lot of them have just been kind of mashed into this cream. And then the outside is a little bit crispy. I'm gonna go in for one more bite here. Just look at all that filling. Wow. Having another dessert tonight at Tonghua Night Market, and this is something that I love. This is called tangyen, which is these little mochi balls stuffed. We ordered some stuff with peanuts and some stuff with sesame. So tangyen can be ordered a couple different ways. You can order it in shaved ice, or like we did, in a hot kind of sweet soup. So you can see there's some leaves that are sort of floating around in here, and that is osmanthus flower. And then in here we have the tangyen, the little mochi balls, so pounded rice cake, and then they've been stuffed with sesame, and some with sesame and some with peanut. You can kind of see the brown coming through on that one. That would be the peanut. And then this one, you can kind of see a little bit of black. So I love these. These are super, super addictive. Let's try them out. This is gonna be steaming hot, so I'm gonna try to bite into it in half and show you guys what's inside. I'm not really sure if this is sesame or peanut, but let's find out. Oh, this is the sesame kind, and that is awesome. So that sesame is mixed with sugar, and then it kind of melts inside when they boil it away, and it makes this really amazing kind of gooey inside to that mochi, the chewy mochi ball on the outside. Let's finish this off. Oh, sesame is so good. I think this is a peanut one, and I'm just gonna one bite it. Oh man. Okay, that just bursts in your mouth with peanut flavor. It's really, really creamy, almost like peanut butter on the inside, and it's hot, soothing. That is really a delicious dessert. This is awesome. I love tangyen. Our sashimi platter has arrived, and it just looks beautiful. The presentation's incredible. We got 10 pieces of the akami, the back of the tuna. This is the Taiwan tuna, the same tuna we saw this morning. And this was 300 Taiwan dollars for 10 pieces of the akami. And then we got 2 pieces of the otoro, the fatty tuna. And this was 170 per piece, so 340 for just 2 pieces versus 300 for all of these. And I'm gonna go in for a piece of the akami first. So just look at the coloration there. It's so rich, dark red. And I'm just gonna go for a little bit of wasabi here. Put a tiny bit of wasabi on the top. And then a dip in the soy sauce too. Oh man, that is so good. All right, the time has come. We're gonna try the fatty tuna now. I'm gonna go really light on the wasabi, and you can see that she's actually scored it. So there's these little cuts in there. And this has been a special experience watching the tuna come fresh off the boats
and be auctioned off this morning, and now just sitting just a few steps away from where they were bringing the tuna in and eating some of this fresh, raw sashimi tuna, and it is just blowing my mind. All right, time to try the fatty piece. This is something I've definitely never seen outside of Taiwan. He uses a thin kind of spring roll wrapper that he lays down a little bit of peanut brittle, so some peanut with a little bit of caramel, and then on top of that he puts some cilantro, and then on top of that he puts ice cream and wraps it all up like that, so it's a little bit of an ice cream spring roll. It looked like he was using some pretty cheap ice cream. It was kind of purple and yellow, but let's try it out and see how it is. If you don't like cilantro, you can get this without cilantro too. So cold. This one's not that good. I've definitely had better versions of this dish. It's definitely something of an acquired taste to have cilantro with ice cream. His ice cream's just really kind of icy and not creamy at all. And the peanut brittle doesn't have much of a flavor, to be honest, either. It's really just strong of cilantro. You can see all that cilantro in there. There's a lot of it. And it's all wrapped up in that spring roll wrapper, which is kind of bouncy. So we just ordered up one of my classic Taiwanese night market favorites, and that is a roast corn on the cob. And corn is actually quite hard to grow on Taiwanese soil, so the price reflects that. And this head of corn cost us 75 Taiwan dollars, and we were charged by weight in grams. And she just completely coated it with a sauce and then cooked it for quite a long time. So let's give this a try. Oh wow, that is packed with flavor. It is quite spicy, kind of like a peppery spice. It has a nice like burnt flavor. The corn completely falls right off the cob.
Sitting down for our first breakfast meal of the day, and this is wagwe, which is a rice cake, and this is a really famous spot here in Tainan. So it looks like there's some pieces of pork, and actually I think there's a shrimp in there, and covered in this sweet looking sauce. So try this out. Oh, it smells really good. Oh yeah, the shrimp is like really good. You can see it's like really kind of like gelatinous, and there's some big pieces of pork in there. And the sauce, surprisingly, isn't over sweet. It's actually really good. So there's some provided sauce, and it's like garlic sauce, and this is like a really thick, pretty much just pureed garlic sauce. So I'm gonna add some of that here. Try not to overdo it. A little bit on this piece. Oh yeah. Okay, and you can already smell this garlic. Oh yeah, this is like really savory. That gives it like a little bit of saltiness and like a really strong garlic flavor. This is a good start to the day.
Okay, we just ordered up a nice cold drink. This is a Chinese herbal tea, and he uses all these different herbs, or some of them at least, and dries them and then boils it to make this really dark looking drink. I'm gonna try this out. Oh wow. Yeah, it's a little bitter. It's really like lots of herb flavor going on there. Try it again. Wow, that's quite good. It's not like tea, because I kind of expected it to taste like black tea, but it's more just like really herbally and a little bit bitter. To make the meat roll, they start with a really thin piece of, I believe it's the diaphragm. It's basically a white piece of fat. It's completely translucent. It's super thin. And they fill it full of the meat mixture. It looks like there's some veggies in there as well. And then it's rolled up like a big spring roll. Then it's breaded and dropped into the hot oil and fried up into this huge log. Super popular. There's a big line, so I'm gonna jump in line and order myself up one of these meat rolls. So this is the final product, all chopped up. It's absolutely huge, and I think it's to be taken home most of the time and eaten with a little bit of sauce, but I'm just gonna sample it now as is, fresh out of the fryer. I think it's gonna be really hot, and I can see a couple little carrots and maybe some green onions, some other veggies in there as well, and then that diaphragm has been completely fried to a crisp on the outside. Oh wow. That is really good. It's juicy. Super, super juicy. And just a thin, crunchy layer on the outside, but the inside's got a nice bouncy texture. Almost like a fish cake texture. It's actually full of flavor. That'd be really good with the beer and some ketchup or something. But yeah, there's definitely some onions in there as well too. Okay, so we have made our way to the second floor of the Nanmen Market where this amazing food court is located, and we just waited about 25 minutes in line at a very popular stall here for something that just looks incredible. So this is a very special bowl of beef noodle soup. So beef noodle is very common all throughout Taiwan. It's one of the most popular dishes, but this is a tomato beef noodle bowl, and this is absolutely just beautiful. There's so much going on here. So they've got egg in here, some nice pieces of beef, a few big chunks of tomato, some lettuce, and then underneath here we have some amazing looking hand-cut noodles. So these are just being hand sliced freshly behind the counter. Oh man. Oh, those are good. Oh yeah. Okay, that is extremely firm noodle. Thick, very thick.